Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here with my in-studio guest. We don't get a lot of in-studio guests, but when we do AMAs, Ask Me Anything. So get your questions in now for Adam Riva, the founder of DauntlessDialogue.com. And he has a wee bit of a YouTube channel, a wee bit of one right here that you're going to want to subscribe to. In fact, I'm going to put that right in the live chat section so everybody joining us can get on top of it. Mr. Riva, why don't you tell us how you got involved in all this and you started Dauntless Dialogue?
When you say, you said founded earlier. When you say founded Dauntless Dialogue, it makes it sound like it's this like gigantic media establishment. No, it's just a website.
Turn that light off really quick. I'm sorry. Yes, look at that. Now you're a little less yellow.
All right. Yeah, well, I was going for the Homer Simpson look.
Were you? Fantastic. So continue. I apologize.
Yeah. So, I was telling you off air, like, I wanted to really do justice to the child trafficking epidemic around the world and how it's connected to the global elite and how it's connected to everything from Hollywood to, Washington, D.C., to the Pentagon, to international adoption agencies and aid organizations and everything in between. And I didn't see anybody really doing a really great job with it because, as you know, this is like a really serious subject that needs to be done the right way. You don't just want to kind of turn people off to the subject matter or scare them or, not cite your sources properly. So I did my best to do some really awesome citizen journalism, and thankfully I've been able to build an audience, and now we tackle a bunch of different subjects.
Excellent, my friend. And what was the the straw that broke the camel's back? What was the piece of information that just, you'd been looking at a lot of stuff, I assume, to get involved in this, but what was the thing that just all of a sudden you're like, fuck it, let's do it?
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't know what the straw was that broke the camel's back, but as my wife can attest, there was like a number of like sleepless nights where I was kind of just like staring at the ceiling like, damn it, I got to do something. Like I feel like, when you research this material, you feel a duty and an obligation to then do something about it. Like it's not good to just have all this information and then just sit on your hands. We got to wake other people up. We got to get the information out. And so,
sorry, just a little closer.
The beauty of live streaming.
Yep.
I have a background, I shouldn't say like a professional background or an academic background, but I have a infatuation with psychology and philosophy. And so I try to bring that into my work because I think really the roots of evil, the roots of corruption are within each of us, within our psyches. So if we can kind of clean our inner sanctum and then bring that forward, it's like, do you really want to try cleaning a window with an oily rag, or do you want to try cleaning it with a clean rag? So it all starts with us.
Yeah, you fucking hippie. Well, let's just say this. I totally agree that, listen, you got to look in the mirror. And I also believe 100% that human beings, every single one of us, is capable of amazing things, love, and then on the flip side of that, horrible things, hate, just things you can't imagine that are just absolutely ridiculous. I got a super chat flick off, always killing it here. And we're going to get to your questions. Get them in the AMA as I interview Adam Riva of DauntlessDialogue.com. Let's just talk to Flick off really quick. He says, and let's just click on that so I won't get it. What do you two know about Morgellons disease? Off topic as usual, but the A in AMA does stand for anything. Correct,
That's
it does.
That's a good point.
I'll say this. Morgellons is interesting because it seems to have some kind of a physical reality. Now, whether or not it's some kind of like nanobot sub-project or not, it's obviously very suspicious, but then you have people that are paranoid and just think everything is some kind of a, government deal. So, do you know about Morgellons?
Yeah, I've been studying it for a long time. I wouldn't say it's one of my, very knowledgeable subjects, but it's been on my radar for a while. Mm-hmm. Just to riff off of what you were saying, there's a woman who shops at the store I work at where she came in the other day and she actually had a piece of copper blanket, a piece of copper cloth that she cut out, and she was wearing it like a do-rag. And I said to her, I was like, you know, that reminds me of like tinfoil hats, right? And she's like, I swear, like the 5G headaches have gone away since I started wearing it. And I'm like, you might be totally right. You might be onto something, and maybe we should all have copper on our heads.
5G had no. What you were saying that Oneana now has 5G here? Now is it repeaters or is it a different kind? They have the repeater 5Gs.
They say it's 5G enabled, but it's not live yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
And where are those repeaters at in Oneana? Are they, because they're not that high in most areas?
This is all secondhand info.
Okay. All right. Well, we're not reporting that then.
But to the Morgellons point, yeah, so for those of you who don't know, it's like this bizarre thing where people have mystery fibers being pulled out of their skin. It usually starts with symptoms of like some kind of itchy sensation, or they feel like their skin's crawling, they feel like bugs are under their skin. There's about 100 theories on it. There's some people who think that, yeah, it's like nanotech and some kind of extraterrestrial, connection. There's other people who say that it has to do with, stuff that's in the soil, stuff that's in the air, could be connected to chemtrails or something.
I've seen that, and I've kind of completely disagree. If that were the case, I just feel like you would see it on a large scale.
Yeah.
Because, all right, so let's say... Let's give that some credence. Now you're saying that 99.99% of that general populace is immune to it, but you're literally not talking about 1% or 0.1%. You're probably talking about 0.01% that's suffering this kind of Morgellons, if that. And I think that might be generous.
That means that they're not very good at what they're doing, if that was the goal.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the most out there theory I've heard, and when I say out there, who knows? Could totally be true.
Sure.
There is a theory that's put forward by some of the contactees, the people who are really into the ufology movement, who claim to have contact with some sort of off-world intelligence. And one of the things that is discussed is that above the Illuminati, above the extraterrestrials, we're going way above that. We're going to the highest cosmic conspiracy.
Wait, are we going to Sirius?
We're going to Sirius.
Are we going to Sirius?
Cosmic Conspiracy 101 is that there's
an actual Luciferian entity that resides on the dog star Sirius, which is a twin star. Oh.
They say that there is a battle between the natural and the artificial. And so there's this artificial intelligence. Somebody reached the singularity before us in the dawn of time, and that artificial intelligence has been trying to replicate itself throughout the universe. And so it lays dormant in a civilization until they start to reach that exponential asymptote of like technological advancement. And so the theory goes is that those are fibers to enable like this artificial intelligence, like a satellite, like an antenna, to kind of...
And that's what Morgellons is?
That's the most out there theory I've heard.
Yeah, you know what, Flick Off? I didn't know we were going to get to the dog star Sirius, the Luciferian AI being living on that twin dog star, and the battle between singularity, probably the Luciferian army, and the angels of Jesus Christmas. I mean, I might be expounding a little bit on that, but...
You were right. You are like a living cartoon character. I've studied like every conspiracy in the book. I'm not an expert on every one of them. I'm just saying I've looked at everything, and so like to me, I'm very infrequently shocked and surprised by the hypotheses that people come up with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, well, hey, it's an interesting topic. I wasn't thinking we were going there on Morgellons, but hey, Flick Off, you got your, hopefully you got your super chats worth. We really do appreciate it.
Are we splitting that 50-50?
What's that? Oh, are we? Oh, we're rolling the dice now. Guys, give the guy a subscribe at least. Tell him Burma sent you. I can't believe we only have 30 on a live stream right now, guys. Talk about suppressing.
That's like me.
I mean, it's been pretty decent. I mean, maybe I just got to do more Epstein stuff, but, there's a lot more out there. Can we just smoke weed with Jason? Hey, if it wasn't YouTube, maybe we'll do like a once a month let's be blunt subject over like hour-long Rockfin AMA, but the thing is, we got to get more subscribers for that to happen.
New York's not there yet.
Yeah, we're just not. What's that? I will pack the biggest bowl to see Jason get lit on here. Look at this guy go nuts.
If only you knew.
Propaganda,
guys.
I'm in. Jason Burmis, any thoughts about coronavirus being the result of big pharma wastewater?
Let's talk about Corona.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I want to talk about that theory right there because that's one I have not heard at all. Listen, again, to me, so far the most concerning part of this is now it's not 40 million, it's 50 million people quarantined. They are limiting information even more heavily in an area that totally suppresses their internet, has basically erased South Park, 20 years of satire in their nation within a week's time, scrubbed it from the internet. That should alarm people because they were critical of that nation state. And now you have people that cannot be mobilized. So I don't know if that's a possibility. Big Pharma's wastewater could be a possibility because, again, this was patented in 2018. The coronavirus is coming in many forms, including canine form. So obviously there's all sorts of different medications and vaccines that they were working on with this. Thoughts?
God, this is a can of worms. So, I mean, if you get into health topics, which is really one of my expertises, I can go forever. So just pump the brakes when you've had enough.
Well, let's read the rest of what propaganda said here. It also says antibiotic manufacturing can create new viruses and superbugs. All right? So give us your thoughts, Mr. Riva.
The career politicians back in, I think it was like the 70s, set up the vaccine courts where you can't sue for damages or death. And so the vaccine companies are completely immune, no pun intended, from any recourse. And that set up a very dangerous precedent. So even Big Pharma you can sue.
Yeah.
Even Big Pharma you can sue, and they are...
Even though Trump's trying to get rid of that right now and trying to reverse the basically... And here's the thing. I was so happy that Bayer decided to throw 60 billion? Or was it 60 million? 60... It was the merger. It was $60 billion. It was a $60 billion merger.
Oh, Bayer.
Yeah, Bayer or whatever they get. Yeah. Well, they make...
I heard bear.
Yeah, well, I say bear. Listen, I like bears. Anyway, Bayer
Monsanto.
And the Monsanto, $60 billion merger, and all the money Monsanto started to lose with this, or Bayer started to lose because of the Roundup verdicts that were coming through.
Yeah.
And now they want immunity for GMOs. They want those verdicts reversed. If that doesn't make you understand that the fucking deck is rigged, when GMO companies can sue the fuck out of innocent farmers that aren't using their seeds, even if they're innocent, and just drive them into poverty and eliminate them as competition, we are fuck diddly-ucked. And that shit has been going on for literally 30 years now. 30 years. And now we can't sue them if we grow a third neck? Like 3, like not 1, but like fucking 1 over here and 1 there. I mean, you can't sue them if you're using a product that they know could give you non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and literally physically scar your entire body before you die. I mean, right there, man. That's how I feel about it.
I like the image of just like 3 necks without heads on the end of them. Yeah, so to just finish that thought out, so vaccine manufacturers are totally immune from any recourse. I've been in this game long enough that I've seen like 10 pandemics come and go, and they always hype them, and they say this is the end of the world, this is the zombie apocalypse.
Which is never coming. But listen, even if you're biblical, I want to just jump in here on the zombie apocalypse. Everybody's like, well, it says in the Bible the dead will walk the earth again. That's not what that means. Like let's say you believe in prophecy. We are much closer to actually resurrecting dead bodies based on what? DNA. It's not the same person, right? But you'll get their physical attributes, and they will look like them. They may at some point even be perfected where they have their base human, self, right? But mush in the head, and who knows? Maybe they'll be able to program with some kind of fucking AI that's totally ridiculous. I hope not. But if we hit that point, it might be apocalypse time. It's not going to be running around corpses you saw in Dawn of the fucking Dead. Just throwing that out there.
People are like so hooked on virtual reality and video games that they're like rooting for Resident Evil to come true.
Why? You have it now. I've got a fucking Oculus in the other room. Like.
So coronavirus, what I was getting at was like I've seen so many of these pandemics come and go.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember
SARS,
the
pig
second
flu,
time the swine flu came around.
Yes, of course.
That was patented like 8 months ahead of time, and so Bill Gates has been making speeches for the last few months about an upcoming pandemic in Asia. I think he even mentioned Beijing. He said like 20 million people are going to die. And, now his stock prices in the vaccine company that he's funding are up over 10%.
Oh.
And so...
Little gravy train with biscuit wheels, Billy Gates, huh?
This is the same Bill Gates who, as you mentioned on my podcast, go check it over at Dauntless Dialogue.
DauntlessDialogue.com or the YouTube channel.
You mentioned that, he goes on stage and does these like math equations, and he's like, vaccines plus, one-child policies means end of human race, and he says it with a smile. And so, I'm always very careful to jump on the bandwagon with these like, big like end of the world like catastrophe events.
Oh, but Bill Gates is involved this time?
they're he's not only is Bill Gates involved with the vaccine company. I mean, you should know he's like involved with the top 3 geoengineering companies.
I know all about it. Yeah,
So-
no. Oh no, he's going to control the weather. He said it. He's got the hurricane machine. Rock you like a hurricane.
I think that there's a really good let me lay out like a couple of possibilities with the coronavirus.
Let's hear it.
Possibility number 1 is that it's all bullshit and that they're just manufacturing it. Possibility number 2 is that there's a legitimate situation, but that the media is playing it up and they're trying to use a convenient distraction from. I mean, they just handed over the articles of impeachment, and that was a backfire. Not even the Democrats were watching. Like, they were hoping this would be like a big rally for America, and their ratings were abysmal. Even the Dems were like tuned out. And possibility number 3 is like this is legitimately a massive crisis, and there's some people who point to the downplaying of some of there's some people say they're playing it up, and some people say they're actually playing it down. I don't know. I mean, you look at how China has like assembled like 300 bulldozers, and they're building 1,000 occupant hospitals simultaneously in like, a week's span. Like, that is impressive, and that seems to indicate that there might be a
Let's
legitimate
just say
concern.
something here. I think there's another possibility.
All right.
And I think that possibility is the beta test of the quarantine and the limiting of necessities like water, gasoline, and food to large swaths of the populace while playing up a pandemic fear. Because if you are building these massive facilities, they could also easily be turned into internment camps. Mm-hmm. Now, with a populace of 1.1 to 2 billion, they're at 3 to 4 times our size. I believe that the predator class, the globalists, whatever you want to call them, have beta tested many things in China first to see how they fly. The social credit score being amongst them right now.
And now Silicon Valley's calling for it here.
They've been, I could see as soon as it was out there that they obviously want it here. Yeah. And the beta test is, well, the Chinese have done it. Let's see. They've got a bigger populace. Sure, they would go by a different mindset. But, Apple's already been doing it here. So, in my mind, they could be using fear based on something that's very real, all right? But at the end of the day is only going to kill probably less than 1% of who it actually infects. You play up those deaths to quarantine people. And then you have these large facilities that the people got behind that are government built that have to be run afterwards somehow, especially when this pandemic's over. Mm-hmm. So those are my worries. I'm telling you right now, if I go down from the coronavirus, I will eat my words on air as I die. But I don't see it happening.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of fear around during the Obama era because he was putting a lot of funding into the construction of FEMA camps.
Yes.
And I think you had done some coverage of that.
Oh, yeah. Back in the day when we were actually, Gary Franchi of the Next News Network, he did that Camp FEMA movie. And I was him, and it's killing me that I cannot remember his partner's name because he actually had done some really great documentaries as well. And I remember we all went to Hooters together with Alex Jones.
Oh, my God. I feel like there's an awesome story there.
I mean, I remember I felt
Let me see them titties.
The other guy didn't really love me that much during like the Hooters exchange, but I had that Info Warrior show on. William something is his name. It's going to kill me. We're doing Camp FEMA. We do it live.
Look, we got the documents, folks, right here. Let's get there right now. DauntlessDialogue.com, DauntlessDialogue.com, DauntlessDialogue.com.
All right. Camp FEMA Franchi. It's William Lewis. That's who it is.
Oh.
Right? Am I right? Or is it
William Lewis?
FEMA? Is it William Lewis,
Yep.
right? Yeah, so we're with William Lewis. And I can tell, like, he's not having the best. Hooters is not his spot. You know what I'm saying? At all. Now, me and Jones are having a good time, and Franchi's kind of in on it. Shout out to Gary Franchi. And we're having a good old time. But then, later in the evening, after the dinner, he was coming on my show. They both were. Before Jones the next day. And I think it was Jones the next day. I'm not sure. They might have been there earlier, but I'm pretty sure they did Jones the next day. And, I mean, he just enjoyed that interview so much. He kind of perked up after the show and just, like, engaged me and talked to me. And he was like I think I scared him at Hooters. Mm-hmm. Like I was this fucking meathead moron or something, hanging out with fucking Alex Jones and, like a, a
You're
titty
how
wing
old
spot.
at this point?
27. 6, 7? No, I mean, that's got to be 2009. So 2009's 11 years ago. 28, 29, somewhere in there. Yeah. I'm an old man. I'm almost 30.
That's my age right now.
Yeah, you're an old man too. It's over.
It's
you got gray hair.
downhill.
You got gray hair. And it doesn't look like you're gonna bald.
I have one white
No,
hair.
great.
In my...
I was saying great, not gray.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got great hair. Look at that. I mean, listen. You keep your hair. You can have lines in your head like me. It's all right.
I literally have one white hair that grows on the side of my beard, and I have to pluck it one at a time.
I'm done. That's all. It's which was right here. I'm starting to get it on the sides. I can't even grow a full beard. I go Keanu. All right. Let's start getting back into the questions.
Yeah.
There was some kind of.
I don't know if we answered any of these yet.
That's fine. They love this. Hopefully you'll love it. Thumbs up, sub, and share.
Yeah.
I heard a theory that it's in all of us, and the people with Morgellons disease are the people with bodies rejecting it. It's gory, sick, but super interesting. Okay. Well, I haven't heard that theory. I will check it out.
I feel like surgeons.
Well, hold on. Let's see it. This guy right here. I love the trolls when they come in. If you do not believe that Conor McGregor is 100% a rapist, you would have to disbelieve that a police source was telling the truth to irishcentral.com and other media outlets that they said at the end of the day, there is no doubt that this young lady suffered a horrendous ordeal. The examinations, aka the forensic evidence, and all of the evidence, not some of the evidence, all of the evidence, which if you scroll down, also includes witness testimony, leaked WhatsApp messages, and now a Department of Public Prosecution file on this matter, that she was raped and very badly assaulted in that penthouse suite. Now that came out in December of 2018. This is my thread from the 13th of 2019. You'd have to disbelieve that the mom, who was found bruised and battered, okay, that these statements are hugely detailed and complex and go into the minute detail of every aspect of the night of the attack. So now we have a conspiracy between the Mirror, the Sun, Irish Central, the New York Times, the London Guardian, the Daily Mail. I could continue. Where you find out that she was choked. There were marks of clear choking around the woman's neck shortly after the incident on Monday. She resisted and bit the man in question. By the way, he showed up the next day, according to these reports, with his barrister, saying that it was consensual. It wasn't until she actually named him officially. I mean, you gotta go on and on and on. 100% Conor McGregor is a fucking violent rapist. Just like 100% Dennis Hassard is a serial pedophile. Just like 100%, even though Dennis Hassard's never been convicted of that, by the way. 100% Jeffrey Epstein was a serial pedophile. 100% never convicted of that either. So you can either be a part of reality and a part of the solution, or you can be a troll and part of the problem, and you can fucking defend violent rape of women who almost get killed. So, cool guy, keep being cool.
Let's take a moment here, because I want to just put an idea out there for our audience to consider.
Yeah.
When it comes to, like, the celebrity class, when it comes... Save that one.
Yeah, I got you. Go.
When it comes to celebrity class, when it comes to the stars, you look up to the stars, right? We're kind of astrologically influenced. The star class, the celebrity class. I remember listening to a woman who was like an etymologist. She was tracing back the history, the word derivation of the word celebrity, and she took it back further and further, and goes even further back than what like the mainstream sources will tell you. If you just look it up online, you'll get one definition, but it goes back further than that. And they were saying that it was actually like somebody who was appointed by the priest class, by the monarchy, to disseminate messages, to kind of control a narrative. And so that's what we see with the celebrity class. So you take Kobe Bryant, for instance, you take Michael Jackson, you take all these people who've been kind of sacrificed. That's just me speculating. That is part of how they can control the collective's psychology and emotional profile. So if imagine right now, for instance, you have millions of people who are obsessed with sports, who are watching Kobe Bryant. They might even have pictures of him. They might have autographs by him. There's a little bit, to a lesser degree, I'm going to kind of exaggerate with the word worship, but there's like a worship there. And so by killing off the God that you're worshiping, that has a profound effect unconsciously and to a large degree on the emotional profile. And so I tend to think that when these things happen, like there are agendas at play that you and I, Jason, we don't know what's going on at all times. There are convenient distractions, as we were talking about with the coronavirus. Sometimes these things are natural, and sometimes, people die in helicopter crashes. Sometimes, people die in helicopter crashes 3 years after they've been drawn in a cartoon dying in a helicopter crash. I don't know. I mean, that is a very big coincidence. And I'm not saying I believe for a fact that he was killed. I'm just saying.
I've seen a lot of conspiracy thread. I've seen the video of him on Comedy Central where there's the crash. I've seen the Mamba for Life on LeBron's shoes. I've seen the assassination on Google. It said, when you searched it, which I thought was kind of bizarre. But again, who knows how that gets put in the algorithm?
There was probably like 7 or 8 different stacked coincidences that I was looking at around this. But 7 or 8 stacked coincidences are in the realm of possibility. That happens sometimes. Sometimes bizarre stuff happens.
Yeah. Again, like, if you watch that clip, it's not like him and his family or anything like that. It's a joke. Weird, morbid shit happens on cartoons all the time, especially to celebrities.
Yeah, and I think that explains a lot of it. Like, The Simpsons have predicted, like, so many different things.
They're on for 30 years.
They're on for 30 years. How many episodes are there? How many jokes? How many celebrities did they have on their show?
Exactly.
So when you're making a show that's infused with current events and real life, yeah, there's going to be some things that seem to overlap. So that's all I'm saying is, like, there's some, whether or not the Kobe thing is real, I don't know.
I think it also has a little bit to do, with what are they, synchronicity and that being a real thing, just because of, energy flows through all of us. They talk about how do I put this? Synchronicity in some respects is real. Art does imitate life, but there is this kind of collective consciousness that we're all sort of a part of, whether we realize it or not. You were talking about that with the celebrity aspects of things, and especially with The Secret. I'm a big law of attraction guy. You know what I'm saying? So again, because of that law of attraction, because, like, for instance, the big one is that Trump scene where he's down the elevator. But you got to remember, the coincidence or that law of attraction that elevator does exist, that a lot of those guys had probably been into that Trump area, because they're NYU or Harvard, writers or whatever. And the fact that, Trump had teased being a president forever. And even you could go back to I think it was 1999 maybe, Battle of Los Angeles video where it was Donald Trump for president in that video and Michael Moore directed it. It's been in the public consciousness for a long time. And then for someone to catch a very similar thing, I don't believe we live in the Matrix, man.
For sure. And I am, like, I try to be as principled in my journalism as I can. I try to cite my sources. I try to, like, only really assert things as you do when I know for a fact, when I know 100%.
100.
But we do know that has happened in the past, as they have sacrificed certain celebrities. So can it happen here and there today? Absolutely. We have that precedent.
China is the globalist sandbox testbed. I agree. But the CCP would not cause self-inflicted economic fallout of quarantining 50 million citizens for safety. So what do you think? What's your theory, Nick? And I appreciate the super chat.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, and that's what a lot of the people who are saying that this isn't faked is they're saying that they're downplaying it. They're saying that we would have stopped. Like, there was 2 people who just were flown into Binghamton who had it. Who had the coronavirus.
No.
Yeah.
Binghamton has a confirmed case?
Just happened. Yeah, I think this morning.
Keep talking. We're looking. Keep talking.
So, well, look, remember when, I think it was Ebola. Yes. When the Ebola outbreak was going on, there was like a big backlash.
They've been tested. We don't know that that's real. Yeah.
2 tested. Okay.
Let's read it. We do it live.
We have the documents, folks. 2 adults are being tested for coronavirus infection in New York's southern tier, according to Broome County Health Department. Their cases have not been confirmed, and the department told WBNG TV.
Okay,
the
so
testing
they're not
is
confirmed.
Currently underway.
Well, you know what? Let's go to the gods of Google, and let's do it by date. That's 7 hours ago.
When the Ebola outbreak happened, they announced that they were going to be bringing a patient back from Africa, and there was a big backlash, and people were saying, like, don't bring it to the United States for the love of God, like, because there were nurses who were contracting.
Have anybody? They test negative. There it is. negative tested
okay.
2 hours ago. So again, guys,
All right.
that was about 60 minutes away. I was joking about dying of the coronavirus. I was not sweating it.
I'm not worried. I'm not concerned.
So there you go.
Look, okay, so people get into paralysis when they feel that there is a legitimate threat and that they don't have any solutions, they don't have any strategies to get themselves through it. So what I would encourage our audience is, like, if you do even slightly worry about this, well, okay, that's fine, but take it upon yourself to go buy some immune fortifying supplements, to do some cold baths, to do whatever you have to do to boost your immune system. That way you're not in a state of paralysis. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to, like, feel like there's no options.
All right, where are we at? We got the buffering. TJ, I'm sorry it was buffering for you. I would get a Rockfin to see that. Well, we'll see what happens. Rockfin.com/Jason Burmis. Censorship is real, Jason. It isn't you. It is Google. The masses of Google. By the way, thumbs this video up, sub, and share. Heavy antibiotic use can create huge problems with immune systems. Agreed.
If anyone,
that's BS. They are trying to force immunizations on everyone. I agree there, too. I don't know what BS is that. Right? If we eliminate the Office of Director of National Intelligence, the ODNI, or restrict its ability to use the United States Special Forces in an executive manner, we can close the loophole created after 9/11 that allows presidents to start wars to deploy the military for wartime use without the consent of Congress. For half a decade, people accused Obama of starting
this person
illegal
wrote a book.
wars. Now, while this violates international law, which in reality means nothing because we have veto power, it is actually within our law and is unprosecutable and unconstitutional. Again, 100%. Listen, the game changed not only after 9/11, but really after the Gulf War, which was completely unjustified, and the fact that the National Programs Office revamped the shadow government with Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, Wolfowitz, and friends under the Reagan administration, setting all of this up. And now we are in internal war in the Middle East. And until we say that none of this was constitutional, that this was completely criminal, especially post 9/11, based on an international intelligence operation, aka false flag, and prosecute those, we'll never get our country back. Just doing what you just said is fucking imagination land, brother. And even what I said, I mean, that is a strong, tall, heavy mountain to climb. All right? And I don't know if it's imagination land, but I got to believe one day. So fucking sad.
Otherwise, we should just quit. This is why we do what we do, is because we believe there's a possibility, there's a chance.
Yeah.
If there's a 1% chance,
And I'm not that hairy fucking Dumb and Dumber, so you're telling me there's a chance. We know viruses come from dirty water. These viruses are our fault for not cleaning up our mess. Propaganda. He loves that. Propaganda. J-Bet Corona. Super weird about the coincidental association to Resident Evil, Umbrella Corp, and Raccoon 2. Super friggin' weird. I've heard the new Umbrella Corp stuff, and listen, guys, we don't live in a video game. It's going to be okay. Frankie Edgar and Joe Rogan beat around the bush with Connor's lawsuits on the latest. Ooh!
That sounds juicy.
Well, they're optimistically cynical. We'll be watching that later.
I'm
doing the McGregor fucking documentary. I can't release it here. I'm going to do the McGregor documentary.
YouTube?
Oh, no, I can't release it here. Oh, no. They'll gun for me. I think that'll be too much. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do because I want it to go viral. I think I'm going to do it Periscope live and then have it as a pinned tweet to a new thread. Like, I think that's the way to go. I think that with just the documentary, because they won't let me upload actual videos for some reason, more than 2 minutes and 20 seconds on YouTube. Or on Periscope, I have to stream it like this.
Yep.
So I'll just, set it.
Yep.
Set it and forget it.
I'm curious what they did say. Like, you're saying they beat around the bush.
I can't play it because we'll fucking get thrown right off. Yeah. I don't even play his clips ever. Kobe Bryant was part of the Predator class. He was kind of part of the Predator class a little bit, big guy. The DNI, ODNI is the key to this. Okay. If you say so, my man. That's almost like a Nesra thing.
Look up Xenobots.
Look up Xenobots.
Yep.
I don't see that.
Yeah.
Oh, we are now living robots. I hope I'm not part of the nanobot revolution without knowing it. Propaganda, I agree. You're right on. My large family farm is near Monsanto headquarters. We stopped using Roundup years ago. Damn right. Caught JB live. Looks like I missed a lot. Now, we've only been doing it for 35 minutes. I don't know how much time you have. But
I got all day.
Oh, good. All right, fantastic.
Yeah, let's talk about Monsanto for a second, because so anything that's like health related, if you guys have questions, that's kind of my background. So The problem, okay, let me like give you like a big bird's eye view here. So in the 90s, there were some biologists who were looking at the water supply, and they noticed that there was a heavy amount of water pollution, specifically phthalates. Phthalates, it's spelled Phthalates, and phthalates are gender bender chemicals. They started to notice this because the amphibians, specifically the frogs,
The frogs are going gay.
and the salamanders were
Really hermaphrodite, right? Wasn't that kind of the thing? They were getting feminized, but at the same
So,
time,
yeah.
some of them were growing female genitalia on top of it, right?
So the way that the researchers worded it, if I can remember this correctly, they said that there's a diminishment of the polar extremes, or I'm butchering it, but they were saying that there's a diminishment of the extremes of the sexual morphology. What that means is male extremes and female extremes, they were kind of merging in the middle. And they were also exhibiting homosexual behavior. And so the biologists at that time, they said, give it 20 or 30 years and you're going to see these same symptoms exhibited in the higher order, up the food chain, all the way up to mammals and humans. Sure enough, here we are, 2010, 2015 rolls around, you start seeing a huge increase in homosexual behavior and this whole gender dysphoria thing. And I'm not here to judge people. If we got any listeners, that's fine with me. But the question is, did something go wrong morphologically or behaviorally? So, yes.
Maybe a combination of both, too, because we are
Yeah.
influenced by what we see as well. Any psychologist will tell you that. I mean, again, the idea that, any type, all types of sexual behavior are somehow not learned in some respect. I mean, it may be. You're getting called. I don't know if you can
I
take
thought
that.
so.
Yes.
Nope.
Nope. Don't
We're
have to
live.
take that one.
We're live. We're live. We can't do it.
Let me finish that thought. So, put that on a surface where it doesn't make any noise. So, there's two ways. By the way, everything I'm about to say, this isn't my take on it. This is what the actual experts say. The biologists who categorize all of this stuff. So, there's behavioral abnormalities, which could be the way you play. So they typically describe male play behavior as like roughhousing outdoors, adventure play, guns and cowboys and Indians, bang bang. And then with the girls, the typical play behavior is like nursing or coddling like dolls, and like a simulacra of a real human baby. And they are quiet and like sitting down, and so those are the two types of play behavior. And we know that that's changing. We know that there's whether it's the parents who are saying that the kids are transgender, or whether it's the kids who are just kind of on the fence. But how does play behavior manifest when you get older? Another version of that is sexual behavior, some of those proclivities. And so we know that the sexual behavior in adults is being skewed too. And I don't think that's just because of porn, but I think that that's a large factor. And then you have morphology, the way that our physical bodies develop. So, for people who are, if we have any gym monkeys, gym rats in here, you guys know about gynecomastia. Gyno, it's male bitch tits.
Bitch tits, Bob.
I think it was in 2004 where the amount of men in America getting breast reduction surgery surpassed the amount of women getting breast implant surgery. More men, for the first time, wanted smaller breasts than women wanted bigger breasts.
It's craziness.
And so
Do some push-ups, bro.
do some push-ups. The amount of phthalates are like innumerable. So again, a phthalate is a gender bender chemical. So any petrochemical, like plastics, for instance, and plastics are unavoidable.
Is this also kind of the bisphenol A, the BPA as well?
Precisely. And
Yeah.
so let me cover that real quick. There was a huge scare and panic around BPA, and the doctors and a lot of the mainstream media said, calm down, there's really not that big of a concern. And one of the things that they cited was that your liver deactivates BPA, which is technically true. However, it was the mothers who were concerned about BPA exposure, and eventually they substituted it with BPS, bisphenol S, which is actually potentially worse. So yes, your liver deactivates it, but it then passes through your umbilical cord, which is reactivated. So a lot of the pathways
Oh,
into
for your baby.
a fetus, yes, a lot of the pathways into the fetus, they prioritize nutrients. Obviously, you want to nourish your babies and you want to have it grow happy and healthy. Unfortunately, toxins share the same pathways. And that's one of the reasons why, your placenta can be full of toxins. This is bizarre, they've done studies where they find that the firstborn child actually tests the highest for things like heavy metals, and then each successive child has lower levels. And so, having a baby is actually like a detox for a mother. And so all of these gender bender chemicals that are in the water supply, that are in the air, that are in our
going
foods,
directly through that placenta into that baby.
Precisely. And so this is changing the way that we develop both psychologically and also physically. And with regard to Monsanto, that's been on the topic today, Monsanto produces what? It produces pesticides, by and large, herbicides, fungicides, and glyphosate was the number one until recently. Now it's atrazine. And those are both very potent and endocrine disruptors. That's what a phthalate is. It disrupts your hormone levels. They disrupt your exocrine system too, but that's another topic. And so now you have farmers winning these gigantic windfall-like profit case or landmark cases, I should say.
As they should.
As they should. And these are farmers who aren't planting GMO seeds. And it's just blowing in through the wind or whatever. Glyphosate, atrazine, all of these pesticides, they're water soluble. So it evaporates up into the clouds, it rains down, it blows over your farm, it blows over my house. It doesn't matter if you're not eating conventional produce or if you're not growing.
Still going to get there somehow, at least in some level. And you know what? A lot of people, with this whole I want to be gluten-free, there's a lot of people that think, well, it's actually the glyphosate. Forget about the gluten. It's that, and they're obfuscating that truth as well. SJG Perspective says, I have a small channel. Really want to interview you sometime. Love your stuff, man. I DM'd you on Twitter. Let's talk Connor and 9/11. Tell you what, brother, DM me again with some times, and this guy will tell you sometimes it takes me a while. But
I live in the same town as him, and I couldn't get a hold of him.
Well, that's not exactly true, but every once in a while, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I should go do that, and he just hit me up today, and I was like, oh, why not? You just got to catch me at the right moment, I guess. There we go. All right, so we got the Xenobots. That is such bull. My husband died early from non-Hodgkin's at 39. His oncologist said it was from the pesticides. That was in 2001. Yeah, I mean, countless people have died.
Yeah, we know that pesticides cause cancer through 4 different pathways. That's been established independently, but even the World Health Organization has weighed in.
That's not true, is it? That Marina Abramovich is doing an art tour with Microsoft? I'm not doubting you, Christina. I'm vomiting in my digital mouth right now. Let's do it live. Marina Art Microsoft. Oh no. Oh, we're going to do a full one on this. Weird.
What?
Just weird. That's a weird one. Thank you. That's why we love our listeners here at the Burmese Brigade. Thumbs this video up, sub and share, everybody. We're going to take a few more, probably close out the hour. So I'll take all super chats as always, guys. Don't take the vaccine. Thanks for talking about vaccines. I think a lot of it is xenophobia and hate for China. That's weird. Doesn't China have abandoned cities built years ago they could use now for the infected? Good point.
That's a bizarre thing for anyone who's looked into the abandoned cities. They call them China's ghost cities. They've spent the equivalent of trillions of US dollars to build these massive cities. And the cover story, the mainstream version is that they were expecting an urban sprawl, and so they wanted to really build out the infrastructure so that they could easily scale up and size up.
Sure.
There's another conspiracy theory I've heard, which is that this is all a cover for China's secret space programs, special access programs, and so I won't go too into it because I'm not that familiar with it, but I've heard that, and that's another bizarre one, another bizarre rabbit hole, because these things are massive. We're talking the size of New York City, just built and abandoned.
Well, I mean, maybe it's the next after this quarantine is the Hunger Games scenario.
Oh,
and they're not that abandoned.
I gotta learn to shoot a bow and arrow.
I mean, dude, no, I hope not. You know what? I'm not going to be part of the Hunger Games society, I promise. Doesn't China... Wait, we have that. LOL, experimental vaccines, good point. Dr. Steinman, who's somewhat of a troll every once in a while, says Kobe Bryant was an evil-controlled monster who released stories for children which had all the same Operation Paperclip material. That's a loaded assumption. I don't even know that he did kid stories, but maybe he did, and I don't know how Paperclip would get in there. Build up pandemic fear and control. Totally agree. They have ghost cities. I've heard they were for when the oceans rise. Yeah, the oceans aren't rising. A lot of, unless, I mean, the sun goes crazy.
England is supposed to be underwater by now.
Yeah, it's all, I don't even want to get into it. A lot of those cities are slowly being populated. Many countries did that to grow their nation. It reminds me of Easter Island. Don't know what that means. But I also think China appears to suck at math. Corona propaganda. They are certainly selling the fear on the MSM. Yes, they are. I don't have TV, but I can only imagine what it's like right now. LOL, I love the Burma Jones. I love Franchi too. 18 minutes late under the bell. So that means that this is about a half an hour ago. I feel the governments are so busy taking the world, blah, blah, blah. Connery is a rapist just like Kobe was a rapist. I was talking about Chinese ghost cities. Conor McGregor is obviously someone I'd engage with in an axe from behind. Don't kill or hurt anybody. We're not promoting that here. Him being a drunken rapist on a dark alley. My goodness. Get him, fuck you, cool guy. Open your ears and eyes. It's crazy how athletes get a free pass when it comes to the same thing they hate politicians for. Touche. Okay, that background pic looks weird. Go clean up those damn demon books. For children Kobe helped create. Go on. I don't know about these books. Do you know anything about the Kobe Bryant books?
I don't know anything about the Kobe Bryant
Maybe that's
books.
the next Dauntless dialogue, the Kobe Bryant books.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Flying in a helicopter a lot. Kobe Bryant got exactly. Oh my goodness. I personally think we are in for the worst due to our polluted environment and lack of health-related science and environmental sciences. Instead, we focus on global dominance and military science. That's true. Nobody ever questions the pollution that the military causes. That's not even in the conversation.
Nope.
Didn't Moby Dick predict a lot? I don't know. I've never read it. Have you read the Moby Dick?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Corona may not kill us, but these viruses will only get worse and worse. He was the Stevie Ray Vaughan of basketball. Jesus. What?
The one that Paul wrote. You know a lot about that.
Question is, how did Magic Johnson survive so long? It's very easy. I'll show you. Glad he has, but question should be asked. It's very simple. Just so everybody knows, the Time Man of the Year on the magazine's cover had cured HIV from killing rich people. It was on the cover. Mm-hmm. Dr. David Ho. Let's do it live. Dr. David Ho. Might have been 94 even. Forgot where it was. Let's see.
Yeah, don't go to Wikipedia.
Man of Year. No, I'm just going to pull it up because I remember reading the article as a kid because it was such a big thing. So it was 1996. Yes. 96. Dr. David Ho, this gentleman right here. Let's open this in a new tab. Bam. This guy was an AIDS researcher. He created protease inhibitors, okay? And back then, for $80,000 a year, you would have to take a cocktail of pills once every 6 hours. So you'd actually have to wake up at night and make sure you took your pills. But it did what, for rich people now, who don't have to take AZT, which will kill them, basically, first of all, there is no HIV test. Right? They test your white blood cell count. It's different in every country. House of Numbers is a documentary that really exposed that. It even has David Ho in some parts of it. Doesn't really mention much about the protease inhibitors. So if you were rich in the late 90s and you did not succumb to the propaganda, you survived. It just so happened that Magic Johnson was the most visual person. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there are a lot of people that survived. In fact, if you watch Bigger, Stronger, Faster, although there's a lot of stuff in there, that's incorrect, and people actually did end up dying short deaths. It's a documentary on steroids, and even steroid treatment for a lot of these guys that are HIV positive, and just exercising builds your immune system up to the point where there is no detection, if you will, if they say that. So, questions have been answered if you're paying attention, and have been. But Paul, thank you for the question. Let's see. Kobe was sacrificed. Everybody wants to go with that fucking sacrifice stuff. All right. Nobody deserves death, not even the most evil. Well, I think that they should pay for their crimes. I'm not saying death. In fact, with McGregor, I'd like to see him go to prison for what he's done. I don't want violence on anybody. That's not what I'm talking about.
It's too easy and quick of a way to go out.
I mean, it's just not. Listen, man, it's not my shebango. The earth will shake us all off one day, and go on for billions of our years. Environment, bloop it, bop, blue. Maybe. I mean, I know that was the big Carlin thing. You know, Carlin was like, one day it'll just shake us off like we're fleas.
He goes, it'll get rid of humans. The only thing that'll be left will be styrofoam.
It's weird how things have changed. Back in the early 90s, Tyson went to jail and had the MSM. No problem following that story with a fraction of the evidence. And it was a he said, she said thing. We have regressed 1,000%. He did prison time, so he may have done that. I wasn't on the jury. I don't know most of the evidence. But I know he didn't almost beat her to fucking death. You know? I know that didn't happen. Like, that's not part of the story at all. I know she wasn't beaten, bloodied, and bruised, and that she bit him, and then he showed up the next day to the police with his lawyer and said it was consensual. That also didn't happen in the Tyson case. Not that I'm defending Tyson. Who cares? Kobe played basketball. Julian Assange is going to die, and we can do something about it. I agree. That's why I did the Julian Assange video prior to this. That is why we cover the Assange case. But, you know, those are bigger issues. He purposely harmed children, so fuck him. I don't know what that means. Guy flies with helicopter. A cartoon is done of him dying in a helicopter crash. When he flies is a fog with his 13-year-old daughter. All the other not allowed to fly. I don't know what that means, perpetual lie. That's a lot of Johnny nonsense, and I couldn't understand it. Murderers do. I don't know what that means. Nope. One deserves death. I don't give a shit what you think. God, can we keep the comments a little bit better, guys? An eye for an eye will make the whole world blind. Damn right. Let's see. Kobe died horribly. Oh, my God.
41 plus 13 equals 54 the next Super Bowl.
I
saw a bunch of other numerology about it.
I don't
really get into numerology.
Me either. Let's see if there's any super chats.
Oh, I saw my name.
Where's that?
Scroll down a little bit more. I'm such a narcissist. My name. Adam knows his stuff.
Adam does know his stuff. That's why I need to go subscribe. You know what? I'm going to check right now and see if I missed any super chats. Nope. I think I got them all. Yep, I did. I got them all. So what that means, guys, is I'm going to wrap it up right now. I'm going to invite you to please go check out dauntlessdialogue.com and subscribe to his YouTube channel. You can type in Adam Riva and find it, but it is Dauntless Dialogue. Would you like to close out with anything for my audience, my friend?
I am trying to grow the channel, so head over there. I'm doing my best to cover a lot of different subjects. I don't want to be just a one trick pony.
He did not know one.
So I've had people on who claim to have been off planet. I've had different researchers on from I don't know, every kind of subject you can think of. Head over, subscribe. That's it. I don't really have a lot. I don't have a nice polished finished ending.
133.44. Thank you. I'm going to check that out right when we go offline. Guys, rockfin.com/Jason Burmis. There's a little endorse button right here on the bottom. If you hit that and you pay the $9.99, you get my content, Askren's content, Burroughs, Placone, Elwood, and so much more. Sonnen. It's a very unique platform that people are doing premium content. I'm doing it 5 times a week here on Rockfin. We did a little bit Impeachment Live, and yesterday we did Hillary Goes Hollywood with the new Hillary docuseries that's coming to Hulu in March.
I saw that
I
shit.
want to puke in my mouth. Make sure you're subscribed here. Thumb this video up. Subscribe. 3 to 7 times a day, live right here. Karma is probably also itching for a walk. And if you want to retweet something, we're going to put it in the thread. Let's get the message out. We don't appreciate violent rapists that are promoted, endorsed by Disney, Reebok, the UFC, and other entities that are essentially promoting the violent beating and rape of women here. We don't do it. We expose the truth. Shame on you, UFC. Shame on you, Dana White. Shame on you, Disney. Shame on you, WME Entertainment and Ari Emanuel, whatever demons you may have been in the past. And I got to GoFundMe. $5, $10, $15 means the world to me. It's how I keep this train chug-a-lugging forward. We only got a few more days. I really hope we get at least over $2,000. We don't want it to be the lowest one yet. So if you like content That is not about left or right. It's about right and wrong. It will ask the real questions. It will be not afraid to talk about Morgellons and talk about real scenarios that could be going on in China that aren't part of the fear-mongering agenda. Consider donating. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the flip side.